Today we're going to learn about illustrations and photographs. So that is the thing that we're going to be learning about because we have been talking about nonfiction. And nonfiction is not fake. And we learn facts when we read nonfiction. And there are also these nonfiction text features that we've been looking through. So I want us to look at this picture right here. So this slide. So I want you to look at this picture right here and then this picture right here. And I want you to say out loud, what do you notice about these two different pictures? What do you notice? So whoever you're with, or say it out loud. So for example, I notice that I see some words, a photograph, right? This looks like a photograph that maybe they take with your camera. I notice that, oh, this kind of looks like a drawing right here. Let me go up a little closer so you can see. So maybe some of you said, this writing looks different. They have a picture over here with some words over here. This had two, and it looks like they drew this picture. So that is exactly right. This picture right here is called a photograph. So a photograph is something that you snap with your camera. You can use your phone, using your phone a lot. And we have so many different apps like, we have Instagram and Snapchat, Facebook, and all have photographs. And then, it's upside down, photographs. And then we have an illustration. An illustration means that it was drawn by somebody, and it's found in a fiction book. So photographs are found in nonfiction books, and then illustrations are found in fiction books because they're fake, they're drawn. Okay, so there are some things that are the same about photographs and illustrations, and then there's some things that are different. There is one thing that is the same, and the same is that they are both, photographs and illustrations, help the reader really understand what the author is writing about. So for example, and this is from one of our really favorite stories, I Need My Monster. So if I said, here we go. If I said, and this is me describing this, I want you to think about in your head what this would look like. The claws were impressive, jagged and dark and razor sharp. I peeked through my fingers at the slimy tail slithering over the foot of my bed, and that's when I noticed a bow. What does this thing look like? What does this thing look like? Say something that, I know it has a bow, but I don't know what it looks like. Guess what? The illustrator, because this is an illustration because it is drawn, the illustration shows the bow at her tail. She had sharp, jagged teeth too and her long claws. But our illustration helps us understand who those characters are, what they look like, what the author is talking about. Same thing. Here, I'm going to describe something and you're going to think in your head what it looks like. You're going to think in your head what it looks like. All right, so here we go. Okay, so here's my other thing. It has 4 legs and it is huge. It lived a really, really long time ago, and it probably is all bones right now. It can reach up to the highest tree, and it has a neck so long, and it can weigh a total of 4 tons. First of all, I know that something's changed because Miss Sparks is saying a lot of facts, things that are not fake. So what do you think I'm talking about? Saying it out loud. What is Miss Sparks talking about? If you had to draw a picture of what this was, what would it be? I'm sure some of you, because you know how much Miss Sparks loves dinosaurs. Actually, it's an Apatosaurus because we call this a Brontosaurus, but it was already named beforehand. So really tall, kind of made of bones. It's all made of bones now because we don't have real dinosaurs anymore, except for birds. Those actually are real dinosaurs. Their neck is really long. Their neck is really tall that they could reach up. And this is a photograph. Somebody took this photograph with a camera, so you can tell the difference between the two. But the same thing about it is that it helps the reader understand and have something in their mind, see it in their mind what the author is talking about. So Miss Sparks is going to hold up some pictures, and you're going to have to figure out if it's a photograph. And remember, that's all in nonfiction. So nonfiction, real photograph, it's a real photograph, or if it's an illustration, that it's drawn. So that it's drawn. All right, let's go from our first one. We're going to do this one together. So this is my first picture. So we got to figure out, is this a photograph? Did someone take this with their camera? Or was it drawn? So I know that this is from the book that we're reading in class, Our Sun Brings Life. I know that there are facts in this story, but I also don't see really pencil marks. This looks real. This looks very real. So I'm either going to put number 1 in the air if I think that it's an illustration, or number 2 if it's a photograph. So what number would you put in the air? Illustration or photograph? So illustration or photograph. So which number would we put in the air? So illustration, photograph. So number 2, guess, should be in the air because this is a photograph. This was taken with a camera. This is real. This is from nonfiction. Oh, we read this story too. So, looking at this, so remember, illustration is number 1, photograph is number 2. So what do we think this is? A photograph? Was it taken with a camera? Or did we take a picture of it with a camera? Does it look real? Like it was out of a nonfiction book. So 1 illustration, 2 photograph. Yes, we all got that. I'm sure we did. This is an illustration, and this is from the story that we read last week, Jill and the Beanstalk. So this is drawn. You can see that this is drawn. All right, let's go to our next one. We have 2 more. So do we think this is an illustration or is this a photograph? So illustration, photograph. So illustration means it's drawn, it's in a fiction book, or is it a photograph? It was real. Someone snapped a photo of it, like for Instagram, Snapchat. What number should we put in the air? Illustration or photograph? Yes, this is an illustration. You guys are so right. This is an illustration. And then right here, we have a illustration or photograph. Looking at it. I know Jabril's going to be real excited because I know he loves football. What is it? What number? Illustration or photograph? Yes, photograph number 2. This is real. So this is a real happening, real time. Good. So we talked about the differences between a photograph, when it's real, somebody took a picture of it, and an illustration when someone drew it. And we talk about that all the time when we read to Sky. We usually read a fiction book, and we always say the illustrator, so the person who drew it. So now you're going to get to circle the answer to my questions of, is it a photograph or is it an illustration? And you're going to do that on an activity on your own. So we're going to see how we do with figuring out if it's an illustration or a photograph, talking about our nonfiction text features. But we got to figure out which one it is before we can move on to go really deeper into our nonfiction. So illustrations and photographs is what we went over today.